Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank weekend preview, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. Well, it's a busy sports weekend, and with baseball, it starts on Thursday night because of Easter weekend. College baseball swings into action. LSU at Ole Miss, Tulane playing Charlotte, and UNO with a home-and-home with Southeastern Louisiana. Also Delgado this weekend with LSU Eunice. So, Lenny, a busy weekend, and for all of them, some interesting scenarios. With UNO, it's a home-and-home, home-away, home with Southeastern. Then, of course, with the LSU situation, the Tigers, they're all big series in the SEC. This one's on the road at Ole Miss. They have some momentum going. And with Tulane, it's simply a matter of trying to keep their head above water, so to speak.
Yeah, and you start with LSU because they're in the best situation of the three right now. They have not played well on the road in conference play, and they need to try to right the ship, so to speak. They had 2 straight weekends at home against Arkansas, against Mississippi State, where they won 5 out of 6 to kind of get themselves on the right side of the ledger. In conference play, the SEC West is really a jumbled mess right now. So any team that can start to put consecutive weekends of good play together has a chance to separate themselves from the pack.
Certainly looks that way. The East obviously has to be considered stronger at this point. And, of course, where Delgado's concerned, they've got LSU Eunice, traditional power in town. They played a really good 3-game series at Eunice earlier this year, and LSU Eunice prevailed, coming back on Sunday to win the series.
Yeah, and that was one that Joe Sherman kind of took the blame for himself, letting that one get away. Had a lead in that game on Sunday with a chance to win the series. And this is just 2 good teams facing off. At the end of the day, it's not going to be a big impact on Delgado's season, but it's a chance to play as good a team as you will play all year in the regular season. The key matchup is next weekend when Baton Rouge Community College comes to town. That will likely decide the MSLU Conference Championship and, more importantly, who gets to host the conference tournament in May.
Speaking of baseball, of course, the First NBC Bank Prep Showcase continuing. We had Brother Martin and Jesuit in a good one this past week, shown Thursday night on WHNO. 4-3 win for Brother Martin, and, of course, we'll resume our First NBC Bank Prep Showcase next week with 2 good matchups.
Yeah, 2 good matchups. We'll see Brother Martin Holy Cross. Watch it live Monday night on SportsNola.com. We'll have it Tuesday night on WHNO, and then we close out the schedule of 18 games that we've done over the last 8 months with Brother Martin and Rummel back at Kirsch Rooney Wednesday night, the 23rd, and that game will air on Thursday.
So watch it. Check it out live at SportsNola.com and then watch on tape delay via WHNO TV 20. We're standing in front of a Pelicans banner. Their season is over at 34-48. They closed by winning their last 2, and Tyreek Evans was outstanding, and there is no doubt that he has to be the 2 guard on this team moving forward based upon what he's done. So, Lenny, some decisions to be made. Del Demp's meeting with the media basically says that Ryan Anderson should be good to go by training camp next year, which is good news. That Eric Gordon's surgery was minor. Of course, Drew Holiday will be back and ready to go. You expect the same from Jason Smith if they keep everybody as is, and then some contract decisions to be made as well.
Yeah, really, with the top guys on this team, they missed a collective total of more than 200 games. That's a lot. And you'd like to see what would happen if this team were healthy. And yes, some decisions need to be made, certainly, and how you're going to fit some things. The lottery's got to happen. Anything is possible in the lottery. You got the Pelicans have a 1.1% chance of landing the number 1 pick, and they would keep it in that instance. If they can land a pick in the top 3, they're going to get to hang on to it. It's becoming a more and more attractive NBA draft. Otherwise, they're looking at 10th or 11th, and that pick will then go to Philadelphia as part of the holiday trade.
Yep, we'll see what transpires. Decisions to be made, and really an intriguing team because you're not really sure what you have in terms of what you could do if you were healthy. But what we do know is that it would have taken 48 wins to have a chance to make the playoffs, and I don't think they would have gotten there. So they know what they have to shoot for in a very difficult Western Conference. The New Orleans Voodoo back home. Friday night game against San Antonio, a winless team, so a chance for a win. Again, the story here is turnovers and way too many injuries. Even guys playing, they're nowhere near 100%, and those 2 elements have conspired to leave them at 1-3.
Yeah, that's not a good combination. You're talking about injuries, you're talking about turnovers. You got, every possession is so valuable in arena football because it's a lot like tennis. It's all about holding serve. and you don't want to just give them away. And the Voodoo has had a propensity to do that here early on in the season.
Well, they lose, some big-name people on their team, and, of course, two of their best wide receivers. Chase DeAtter hasn't played since week 1. He might try to dress this week, but nowhere near 100%. Corey Payne, nowhere near 100%. We saw that last week. Kurt Rocco and Ryan Perilou, both nursing injuries, and they've lost an offensive lineman to the CFL. Another to injury. Lorenzo Breland will not play, their starting center, so beat up for sure. But again, against a team that if they play well, they could and probably should beat at home. So we'll see what happens. And, of course, it's Easter weekend. So happy Easter to each and every one of you. Have a blessed weekend and enjoy time with your family as well. It's a pretty good prescription, right?
Yeah, absolutely is. And hopefully there's some good stuff in your basket come Sunday morning as well.
I hope so. I'm on a diet. I doubt that there's going to be anything in mine.
Yeah, maybe it could be healthy stuff, You maybe some fruit,
granola bar, man.
Fruit, vegetable kind of thing,
A heck of a thing. Lenny, it's always a pleasure. Thanks. Have a great weekend.
You too. We'll see you Monday.
That's our First NBC Bank weekend preview brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great weekend and God bless you.